friends, E.C. Maltbia, Senior Pastor of the True Holiness Saints Center in the beautiful city of Conway, Arkansas. And you know what time it is. It's Wednesday Word time. So what is our Wednesday Word for tonight? Our Wednesday Word is red flags. So what is a red flag, Pastor Maltbia? According to the Urban Dictionary, a red flag is simply a sign or a warning of impending danger. A red flag. A red flag is there to highlight or to point out problems or potential problems that we need to be aware of. And so today I thought that we would talk about 3 common red flags that indicate that a person may be having a disruption in their mental well-being. I thought that it would be prudent for us to talk about 3 common red flags that indicate that someone might be struggling emotionally. Now, when I talk about a disruption in a person's mental well-being, I'm talking about maybe abnormal fear, maybe perplexing anxiety. It could be depression. It could be suicidal thoughts. It could be self-hatred or a wide range of emotional disturbances. But tonight I want to give you 3 common red flags that indicate to us that we may be having a problem emotionally or mentally. So if you're writing notes, write this down. Red flag number 1. A drastic change in a person's appetite. Yeah. A drastic change in a person's appetite may be a red flag that they're having an emotional disturbance. Social media quote for tonight. Anxiety can kill a person's appetite. We've all been there. When you're worried, when you're fearful, when you're all stressed out, it can tighten your stomach. It can tie your stomach up in knots. When you're worried, when you're stressed out, when you're fearful, it can make you lose your appetite and lose your desire to eat. Drastic changes in a person's appetite is a key red flag that there is an emotional disturbance going on. But on the other hand, some people are just the opposite. They can't seem to stop eating. When things get difficult in their life, they eat, and eat some more. For them, eating is not about hunger, but it's about being a distraction. For them, eating is simply a distraction that helps them focus on something other than the problems they're facing. Yes, for some people, a drastic change in their appetite can be the loss of appetite. For others, it can be increasing your eating. In other words, when they're nervous, they eat. When they're sad, they eat. When they're depressed, they eat. But it's a drastic change in a person's eating pattern. I love the way Psalms 102 verses 4 and 5 says it. In Psalms 102 verses 4 and 5, the writer was under immense emotional and physical anguish. Verse 4 says these words, "My heart is deteriorating and withers like grass. I forget to eat. In my distress," verse 5 says, "I groan aloud and I am reduced to skin and bone." The psalmist says, when I am in emotional anguish, when my mental well-being is disturbed, he says it makes me forget to eat. And because I don't eat properly, I begin to lose weight. I'm reduced to skin and bones. If someone you care about is having large fluctuations in their weight, either they're getting real small or they're getting real big and not doing it intentionally for health reasons, it is a red flag that they may be dealing with an emotional disturbance. But our second red flag tonight is simply this: extreme changes in a person's sleep pattern. That's a red flag. When there are extreme changes in a person's sleeping pattern, it is a good indication that there is a disruption in that person's mental health. Think about it like this. There are people out there right now that would testify and say, Pastor Maltbia, my body is tired, but I just can't get any sleep. Now, why is that? That we can be tired physically but not be able to sleep. It's simply because even though we are physically tired, our mind is continuing to race. And when your mind is constantly racing, it causes insomnia. It causes you to struggle to go to sleep. Here's what I know for sure. When your mental well-being has been disrupted, when you are dealing with anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, it is extremely hard to get some sleep. And when you go to sleep, you don't sleep good. You toss and turn all night long. Why is that, Pastor Maltbia? Because many of us are dealing with issues of panic attacks. Many of us at night are dealing with flashbacks. Some of us are dealing with nightmares. But extreme changes in a person's sleep pattern is a good indication that there is a disruption in their mental well-being. I like the way King David says it in Psalms 4 and 8. David says, in peace I will lie down and sleep. For you alone, Lord, makes me dwell in safety. Always remember, good sleep, good rest comes as the result of peace of mind. If you don't have peace of mind, you won't get good sleep. So if you're struggling to sleep at night, just know it's a red flag that there is lack of peace in your mind. Our Wednesday word tonight is red flags, those signs, those warnings of impending damage or impending danger. The first red flag that you might be having an emotional disturbance is a drastic change in your personal appetite. Secondly, an extreme change in your sleeping pattern. And here's the last one: a loss of interest in your favorite activities. Please understand, when you lose interest in things that used to bring you enjoyment, it is a common sign that there is a disturbance in your emotional well-being. It might be tied to anxiety or paralyzing fear. It might be tied to depression or suicidal thoughts. It might be tied to low self-esteem and self-hatred. It might be a wide range of things. But when you lose interest in the things that used to give you joy, it is a red flag that you have an emotional disturbance. For instance, there's some out there that used to absolutely love hanging out with family and friends. And when that behavioral pattern changes, and now they're distant, and now they disengage, and they do that long term, if a person that used to act one way now behaves totally different, it is a sign, it's a red flag that there might be an issue. If it's a person who absolutely loves sports, they love watching sports, they love going to sporting activities, and all of a sudden there's a drastic long-term change in their behavior. They're no longer interested in the things that normally bring them great joy, that's a good indication. That's a red flag that there may be a disturbance in their emotional well-being. Note this. When these same people, because we're so good at masking our pain, sometimes those same people will engage in the activities, but if you watch them close enough, they're just going through the motions. They're there, but they're not really there. They're just giving minimum effort, just enough to get you off their back. When a person loses interest in their favorite activities long term, all of us go through short term things, but long term, that's a red flag that there might be a disturbance in their emotional or mental well-being. I'll leave you tonight with Psalm 61:2. It simply says these words: "From the ends of the earth I call to you. I call as my heart grows faint." In other words, the psalmist says, when my heart is overwhelmed, when I'm stressed out, when I'm feeling anxious, when I'm fearful, when I'm having suicidal thoughts, when I'm thinking badly of myself, when I'm depressed, when my heart is overwhelmed, lead me to the rock that's higher than I. Ladies and gentlemen, when it's all said and done, the answer to emotional disturbance, the answer to fear, anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, loathing oneself, hating oneself, poor self-esteem, when it's all said and done, when you're being overwhelmed, look to Jesus, the author and the finisher of your faith. Look to Jesus. He is standing, waiting to help you. Look to Jesus, because he is able to sustain you when no one or nothing else can. Ma'ams and sirs, please think about, don't dismiss the red flags. Until we speak again, dear hearts, be blessed.